The choice for voters in the 7th Congressional District has been referred to as a battle of the ages. This is the current District 7. Congresswoman Doris Matsui has represented it since 2005, and she's now being challenged by a candidate half her age. But the district just changed under Prop 50. In addition to urban areas like Sacramento, it now covers south to Lodi, west into West Sacramento, and east into El Dorado County. The top two candidates from the June primary will advance to the general election in November.
KCRA 3's Edie Lambert asked the three leading candidates about a range of issues.
Leading candidates include two Democrats who are well known in local politics. Doris Matsui has served in Congress for 21 years, best known for securing billions of federal dollars for regional flood control. Vang has served on the Sacramento City Council for 6 years, and she teaches in Sacramento State University's Ethnic Studies Department. Republican Zachariah is a member of the Woodbridge Municipal Advisory Committee, and he's a political science major at Sac State. We start with a look at how they would use federal funding to help the parts of the district with the worst air quality.
I come to this space as an elected, even as a council member, and when I become a congresswoman, is really working through an equity lens, focusing on neighborhoods, rural areas that have been often left behind in investment. So I know what our rural families are facing. I live in South Sacramento, where it is much hotter in South Sacramento than it is in downtown or Land Park, and a big part of that is because of heat islands that we have, because we don't have that many trees. And so I will be fighting for these investments. When I think about rural areas like El Dorado, I know that we need to strengthen wildfire protection. That's really important. Something that I've championed around climate is really supporting Green New Deal to ensure that we're moving our economy to clean energy. That's really important.
San Joaquin County is one of the worst, has one of the worst air qualities, one of the worst air quality situations in the state, right? It is a recurring issue. And that's partially just because of transportation corridors running through the area. And I'm sure that also applies to, other parts of the district as well. It has bleeding impact on throughout California. There's a lot of commute between, District 7, specifically with regards to Sacramento, with regards to San Joaquin County, even El Dorado County as well. And the issue is that I don't think that there is a really good incentive for regional transportation networks, let's say like public transportation networks, to be as effective as they could be.
And I think many times before we just gave the grants out, right? And either went to the city or the county or some agency, and they decided. I think at this moment in time, we really have to say we really need to make sure these grants go to certain places and make sure that people understand that right now we are headed to a place now where the climate is changing, and the fact is that we aren't going to be able to live this way in the way it's going now. So what we want to do right now is be as energized, that's a good word, as focused as possible on how we look at our region.
It's about the cost of food or making food more accessible to people.
We have to look at the middle of how that gets there and how that's grown. So that includes investment in infrastructure that would increase, the capacity for more food to be brought to the market to be sold, and also investment in federally in water infrastructure for District 7. That applies to different aspects of water infrastructure, right? Levees and stuff for the huge floodplain that exists in District 7, but also specifically for food prices. Lowering food prices by increasing the water available for production, specifically for farmers in District 7.
This is the richest country in the world. We should be able to feed everyone. So the cost of food is a lot dependent upon what's happening in the world also. You talk to the farmers, the fertilizer crisis that they have, the tariffs that have really impacted a lot of the things that they're doing. So there are big policies that we have to really address and bring down. I really believe that farmers themselves, because I've been talking to a lot of farmers in the new parts of the district, and they really want to be a part of this too. And they have some ideas also and how they might be able to work this out.
We are the capital of California. We are the farm to fork capital, but so often I say our families don't even have forks, right? So many of our families have a hard time accessing food insecure. Many of our families are food insecure, and I'm a right now, under this administration, we know that food stamps is being cut, SNAP is being cut, and as someone who grew up in Sacramento, I am a product of our food stamp, of Medicaid, and had it not been for these programs, I wouldn't be here today. And right now, these programs are threatened under this administration.
This particular race for you has been called a battle of the ages, and it's been, I think, characterized as a generational divide, with your challenger half your age. Do you see it that way? Is that how you view this race?
Well, let me just say this. I think that this is democracy and everybody should run. If they want to run, it's fine. And what I feel today is that, just feel this way. Judge me on my work and not my birth certificate. And what that means is that in this day, when we have so much chaos, I think you really need experienced leadership. And what that entails is having the experience, the effectiveness, the energy to meet the moment. And be able, when we take back the House, from day one to move ahead. We cannot sit around and try to figure out what's going to be going on.
As a daughter of Hmong refugee from the Asian American community, I have deep gratitude and respect for the service and the work that she's done for our region. But the reason why I have decided to run and step in the ring is because I do believe that we need leaders in the halls of Congress that understands the day-to-day struggles of our working families. Congresswoman is a multi-millionaire married to a billionaire, and she doesn't understand the day-to-day struggles of our working families. And we need fighters in the halls of Congress that knows what it means to fill up your gas tank, knows the struggle of being able to pay your mortgage and your rent. These are the lived experience that will help inform elected officials when they make decisions in the halls of Congress, fighting for our working families. And that's the reason why I'm in this race.
The minimum age for Congress is 25 years old. I'm 25 years old. And why I'm running isn't because of my age. I don't think age is a proxy of credibility. But I'm running because there's a distinct lack, a distinct decrease in opportunity for this country. I believe that the dynamism is the key to this country. I believe that we're a country of entrepreneurs. I think we're a country of risk takers. I think we're a country that rewards taking the risk, even if the risk doesn't turn out to be the best ultimately. Congress can act to reverse a lot of the issues that have generated these circumstances, that have generated the issues that people like me, not just my age, but people like me in general who are, working to make ends meet, to working to continue to move through life and achieve those benchmarks that are seen as the American dream.
Well, we want to point out we'd offered every candidate the opportunity to appear in studio or on Zoom, and the interviews you saw were their choices. Also on the ballot for the 7th Congressional District, Democrats Robbie Morin, a small business owner, Anaya Naza, tech entrepreneur, and Republican Ralph Nawobi, an attorney based in Elk Grove.